Well, hi, everybody. This is DearMamaSal, and it is Soul Sunday. Welcome to everybody. If you're tuning in for the first time, let me explain. We do 3 broadcasts a week. One of them is Friday lunchtime, Pacific time, 12 o'clock. And that is what I call our learning broadcast. And then we do another one on Friday evening at 7 o'clock Pacific time on a Friday evening, which is our laughter broadcast. And then this one is our Soul Sunday, where we try to just bring everything down to a little bit more calm. So hi there to Nana and hi to Jody, and I hope you all have having a great week. For those of you who might have missed it, we do have some updates. It's really important that you know that Jody's biopsy came back clean. Yay. That's really, really the really important thing for the week. And I just wanted to say that, to be able to cope with the ups and downs of that roller coaster, it takes a great deal of skill to handle everything in a calm way. And I think Jody did it in a really incredible way. If you're wondering who Jody is, she is our admin for the broadcasts. And so we send her a lot of love. Hi there, Kiri. Good to see you. And so today I wanted to talk a little bit more about how our life goes from being supposedly under control and then back into chaos in a matter of, how many of you have noticed that? In a matter of seconds, 1 minute you're doing just fine and the next minute something else again. I was doing, just fine about, having my house on show and everything else. And then I walked into my guest bathroom this week, and let me show you rather than tell you. I don't know if this makes any sense, but that is a leak going up to my skylight in my guest bathroom. And in fact, if you look at that picture, there are 3 different places where it suddenly was doing some serious leaking. And, as you can probably imagine, that isn't something I wanted when I am in the middle of showing my property trying to sell it. Now, I wanted to talk to you all about this because I really feel that some of you can relate. And I wonder what your reaction would be if you suddenly saw that happen in your home when you were trying to sell it. I went through a number of different reactions, and one of them, of course, was shock, and I talked about that on Friday. But the other one was that, to find the balance again. Kerry's just not interrupting, but just adding in here that she apparently has got a sickness. What is the sickness? The flu? Kerry, just so we know. And look after yourself. Feed a fever. Starve a cold, right? Yeah, have you noticed very few people get colds anymore? It's just, that if they're sick, it's flu. I've noticed that people don't seem to get colds anymore. When I was at work, you got colds. Today, cold is not something we get anymore so much. All right, so I wanted to just say that I went into some level of shock, and that's what I talked about on Friday, but I also went into high gear in terms of what we've been learning this year, which is, deal with one step at a time. And so just to let you know that on Wednesday, there's going to be a dirty great hole in my roof because they're pulling out the skylight and replacing it. How many of you would want that in your life right now? And how many of you can imagine the mess that potentially that will make? And, what I decided was, Nana's going and expensive. For those of you who know that I'm already, trying to balance what little money I have left until my house sells, because I didn't expect it to take this long, to suddenly have that expense as well. But it is what it is, and I have to find the money, and so be it. So what I decided to do, and I don't know if any of you can relate to the reality of this one. If they're already going to be making a lot of banging and crashing, obviously, if things are going to be dropping from the roof and making a mess in my house, I thought it'd probably be a good idea for me that day to actually go get my Christmas tree and put it up and make a mess with that, because then on Thursday, I can tidy up both, if you know what I mean. Well, I'm sorry, Carrie. You really have, something, Carrie? I my heart bleeds for you, because almost every week there is something not right with your health. And, my heart bleeds for you. I don't think there are many weeks where you come on and go, I'm feeling great, and da 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 da. Almost every week we hear that there's something else that's wrong. And I'm just concerned for you, because that can't be a fun way to live. Right. So, I'm not going to give you any input, because the last time I did that, I got into trouble. So I'm not going to be a mother hen. I'm going to trust that you know what to do. All right. So our first quote of the day, and I thought this one was fair, and it said, the only order in the universe is just a cycle of calm and chaos. How many of you know that cycle? It's just like, just as everything seems to be calming down, now it's chaos again. And then it starts to calm down, and now it's chaos again. And boy, have I felt that. I must admit that I rolled my eyes when I saw the damage and went, no, why did this happen now? How many of you, probably felt the same way? Why did this happen now? And then in a way, I'm actually quite glad, because at least, it's something that has been, I can prove has been repaired, which I think is a plus. So I'm trying to look at it from a good perspective rather than a negative one. It was said that perhaps there are those who are able to go about their lives unfettered by such concerns, but for those of us, our fate is to face the world as orphans, chasing through long years the shadows of vanished parents. There is nothing for it but to try and see through our mission to the end as best we can. For until we do so, we will be permitted no calm. How many of you can imagine, which is after 6 months of trying to keep my house tidy, trying to have it ready for a showing, without too much trouble. After 6 months, I'm getting a tad tired of it now. And so, to me, it is like, I had to stop myself from saying I've had enough, because I haven't had enough until it's done. All right. And, that to me is something we look at. Yeah, Kerry's saying, I honestly haven't been physically sick in a while. I just feel blindsided by this crumminess. Yeah, well, let's try and keep track of that, Kerry, because I actually think that you have. And maybe you don't realize it. Maybe we see it more than you do. It's possible. But, do what you need to do to look after yourself, honey. We don't, I know that, but it's that time of year, so we all expect to get that sickness. But, I'm not sure Have you had your flu shot, or has everybody had their flu shot, by the way? How many of you do have them and how many of you don't? Yeah, Nana says she's had hers. And Kerry has had hers. Yeah, it's interesting. I used to have mine quite religiously. And then, I noticed that 2 years in a row, I had the flu shot and got another strain of flu. You know what I mean? It's like they protect you against the one that they're expecting. All right. So Jodi's saying she gets one every year. All right. So Beth's saying, I've never had a flu shot in my life. Never had the flu either. Just good genes, I guess. Yes, aren't you lucky? I think if you're vulnerable, it's a good idea. If you, and for example, Jodi, who is vulnerable to anything like that, I think it's a really good idea, even if it's protecting against one flu and they're different strains. At least you feel better about it as well. All right, so here's a question for you. Who is crazy? The people who trust other people or the people who don't? What do you think? Right? Do you think people are crazy for trusting other people, or do you think that they're crazy for not trusting other people? And I am pretty certain that we've all had circumstances in our lives where, we did trust everybody to the most part, and then we got betrayed at some level, and then we ended up going, we ended up going the other way, going, no, I'm not going to trust anybody for a while. And then we slowly go back to trusting people again. I think it's a bit like that thing they were saying about, the calm and then the chaos. I think, we get into that calm of trusting people, and then somebody messes with us and we go into the chaos again. Yeah, Beth is saying maybe the reason that she doesn't get the flu is because she cleans so much and her house is like an operating room, right? Hand sanitizer at work. Yeah. And, again, I can't help wondering. All right. Okay, so Kerry's saying she's pretty sure that hers just a case of allergies and or sinus infection. I haven't eaten the healthiest today, so I'm pretty sure that's why my stomach isn't happy. Okay. So what is it? And what I'm trying to find out is, what is the nastiness at work? Is it a flu? Is it a stomach flu? Is it a chest flu? All right, Nana, good to see you. All right, so interesting. Beth says that she sprays down the register at work, before she uses it. Yes, how many of you, who might share keyboards and things, how many of you disinfect the keyboard before you use it with a wet wipe or something? Those are all things that are just one more level of protection, right? So but on the other hand, do any of you feel that we overprotect ourselves these days? Whereas in the old days, before we had all this sanitizer thing, that we just were aware that, I think in a way our resistance was better. But when we constantly sanitize all the germs, I wonder whether we're weakening our immune system. I don't know. I mean, I'm not a doctor, so I don't know. But I often wonder about that. And so, it's a very personal thing, isn't it? How do you feel about this one? A man or woman of calm is like a shady tree. People who need shelter, come to it. A man of calm or a woman of calm is like a shady tree. People who need shelter, come to it. I'm sorry, I'm laughing because Betsy said she got a Beth said she got a pimple and she named it. Right. Don't let the rain drive you to the wrong shelter. The shade can turn out to be your protector and also your destroyer. And sometimes the rain is the perfect protector from the rain. And what I believe Michael Bassey Johnson meant by that was that sometimes we just need to stand up and face the rain. All right. Like when I saw what had happened from my skylight, I gasped. And then something worse happened, as some of you may know from the broadcast on Friday. I then found that there was water on my dining room table, which meant there was another leak that was coming through the light fixture. Not necessarily that the leak was above the light fixture, but it was probably running down from somewhere, and that was its first point of exit. And, this was like, wow. The heavy rains that we had recently obviously did a number. And, I don't mind telling you, I went into some level of shock, but then I went, shock is not going to fix it. Shock doesn't fix anything. Panic doesn't fix anything. Complaining about it doesn't fix anything. Getting somebody in to assess it. Now then, here's an interesting thing. Let's see how well you all do. What do you think the going rate is to go up on a roof and haul out a big skylight and then replace it and reseal everything? I just, because, obviously you probably automatically thought about that. Like, and I kept trying to work out how much that was probably going to cost. And I thought, why don't I stop trying to work it out and just get somebody in to give me a quote? So, but I just wondered where your minds go if you imagine that. And then, of course, I've got the second leak that needed to be looked at and stopped. So the reason I'm asking you is because I want you to understand what happens when you start really dealing with reality instead of awfulizing what's going on. So anybody want to have a guess? What does it cost to haul out and replace a big skylight? And to identify and hopefully seal another leak? Jody's guessing about 1,500. Yep. I must admit, I thought, right, Beth is saying about 2,000 with labor. Yeah, Kerry also guessed about 1,500. I'm so glad because I reckoned that as well. I reckoned it, at least it was going to be around that figure. And, I didn't have that money, so I was panicking. But I actually got a top guy in that's part of the Better Business Bureau, type person. It wasn't some hack guy. But I got somebody in that's got a very good reputation. And he came in, looked at it and said, 550 cash. I said, what? 550 cash. Yeah, Jody's going, wow. So do you understand what I'm saying to you about when you take one step at a time? I didn't awfulize on how much it is going to cost. All I did is I worked on, let me find out how much it's going to cost. And, that is what we're all trying to do is don't panic first, get the facts first, and then you can panic, right? Once you know. So quite honestly, like you, I thought it was going to be at least 1,500, 2,000, maybe 5. And the amazing thing was that when I heard it was 550, I immediately said, when can you do it? And Beth is saying, man, if we lived close to you, Charles and I could have done it for you, right? Charles used to build houses and he taught me a few things. Yeah, I appreciate that, Beth, and I totally believe you as well. Right, and I definitely wish that you lived close to me, for more reasons than that. But what I want people to see is that panicking isn't going to fix anything. Awfulizing isn't going to fix anything. Getting a quote, dealing with reality, that is what's going to get it fixed. And so can you understand that whilst they're going to make all that mess, which they obviously will, I'm going to make a mess as well. How many of you think that's pretty good thinking? I'm going to get the Christmas tree up and all the bits all over the place and all that sort of stuff. And, I thought I'd be moved in my new place by Christmas, which goes to show how wrong I was. Yeah. Beth is saying, that they love to help. It makes us feel good. I want to tell you something. I feel the same, Beth. And, I met a couple, Beth, who really were not rich people. You know what I mean? They didn't find life easy, paycheck to paycheck. And yet, one of the things I found out about them is that they constantly walked around with Save On Foods or Safeway type, grocery store gift cards. And whenever they came across anybody who was struggling a little bit, or they heard a story and they could tell that person was struggling a little bit, they'd just give just go, hey, when you go shopping, buy something special for yourself this week. And I thought, what a wonderful thing to do, because it's going to be spent in a grocery store. And hopefully, therefore, it's going to be well spent. And I thought it was a lovely idea. All right, so Beth's saying not having Thanksgiving this year. She's working 12 hours that day, so I won't want to put any more pressure on myself. Good girl. Charles is going to bring the workers food for the day. Isn't that lovely? Yes. What a good idea. I think that's a lovely idea. I felt this was a great piece of advice, and I don't know if any of you can relate to it, which says, when you are angry, try your best to go to sleep. It keeps you away from speaking, writing, and thinking while you are angry. I think that's a great bit of advice. When you are angry, try your best to go to sleep. How many of you have heard the expression, I'm going to sleep on it? And I think that's a really great thing for us to, make a commitment to do. Next time I get angry, I'm not going to voice it. I'm going to sleep on it. Some of you have heard me say that one of the things I've learned recently is I don't want to talk out of emotion. So if somebody is attacking me at any level, I don't want to respond out of emotion. I'd rather do it out of fact. And when I've had a chance to sort of think about it, are they really trying to help me and I'm missing it? Or, when I've had time to process what's gone on, because I can see that so much of my life, I reacted first and regretted it later. I don't know if any of you relate to that. Where your perception is that somebody is attacking you or judging you, when in fact they were that was not their intent at all. And so, I look at it and go, think about that. Can you go to sleep before you get angry? because the chances are you won't need to get angry, because maybe by the time you wake up, you think it's not worth it. It's not worth the possible repercussions of this. Slipknot said, I've been with you all day. I'm trying to stay calm. I'm impatient and it's really hard to breathe. And I'm going to empty you and fill you up with me. How many of you wish that you could empty up somebody who's struggling and fill them up with your calm? Right. So Kez is saying, because if you go to sleep before you get angry, then you've had chance to rationalize why, you got angry. Yeah, exactly. And that's why I think it's a great idea for us to think about that. And just another quick update in case anybody missed it, which is Benji and Judy announced that they're pregnant again. That's so exciting for all of us, I'm sure. Okay, let's see what Beth says. My only advice to people who shop on Thanksgiving Day sales is to remember to be nice to the people who sacrifice that day to make your shopping a good experience. Yeah, I would agree with you that I think when we can appreciate that people are just trying to do their job. They don't get up in the morning thinking, I am really going to mess this person's day up. I went, while the showing was going on, I decided to go and have some breakfast at the local eatery. And, first of all, I sat and waited for about 10 minutes before anybody bought me a coffee. Now, if I haven't had my caffeine, I'm not at my best. And so there was part of me that wanted to get upset. And I thought, I don't want to get upset today. And so then they bought me the coffee, which I did a lot better. But then they didn't bring me anything to stir the sweetener with. And you're going, Then I actually decided I would order a little bit of toast and have some peanut butter because I'm trying to keep my blood sugar down. And it was interesting because they bought me the toast and the peanut butter, but nothing with which to spread it. And how many of you know that, I'm sitting here going, I have a choice now to get angry or to be amused, And so when the server came close to me, I called her over and I said, look, you obviously have great faith in my ability to do things without tools. I said, you brought me coffee without a spoon. And I said, and now I've got toast and peanut butter. Did you want me to spread the peanut butter with my fingers? She said, what? I said, I'm just checking. Yeah, Beth is saying I would use my finger. Peanut butter is my favorite. Yeah, it's become mine since I've had this sugar thing going, Beth. And Jody's saying silverware was not at a premium today. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, and Beth is saying, and I don't have time to wait for a knife, let me get out of there. I actually was wasting time, Beth, so I had time to wait, even though my stomach didn't think I did. How about this one? Oscar Wilde said, how can you sit there calmly eating muffins when we are in this horrible trouble? I can't make it out. You seem to me to be perfectly heartless. Is that true of you? If there's a lot of chaos going around and somebody is very calm, do you feel that they're not in the same wavelength as you are? How do you react? I was thinking about a lot of you are Americans and you're going to be going to Thanksgiving situations, some of you, and I was thinking they get, if normal, there are probably going to be some contentious moments. Do you ever go there going, I'm going to be the calm one this year? I'm going to let them get on with their fight. And by the way, have you noticed the more they drink, the more contentious it gets? But, I'm going to do everything I can to not get involved and just stay calm this year. That's going to be my gift to myself. And even if they talk politics or religion or blah, 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 whatever, I'm just going to let them do their thing because it has nothing to do with me. It's their stuff. If anybody asks for my opinion directly, I will give it. Yeah, Jody's saying the annual Thanksgiving family guilt trip. Yeah. And bun fight, right? It stood calm against the suburban storm raging around it. The thunder screamed across the sky. It slapped the clouds into heated turmoil that flew towards the south. Does that describe your Thanksgiving dinner at all? Oh, Beth saying, the more chaos, the better. I thrive on it. Why, Beth? Tell us why. Do you sort of hear a fight about to start, a verbal, disagreement, and you go, oh, good, here we go. This is going to be exciting. All right, so listen to this. Beth is saying, if I'm not in some sort of chaos, then my mind drifts to things I don't want to deal with. Wow. I understand it, though. I spent a lot of my life in that place, Beth. I understand it. Jody's giving a classic example of pass the peas, please. Oh, and remember 3 months ago when you said da-da-da-da? Yeah. All right, so Beth is saying it's not about me. I can focus on other chaos. All right, so that's awesome. And that's why I'm saying, what if you choose not to be involved in the chaos this year? If you hear chaos about to start, really good idea to get up and go to the washroom, so that you're not in the heart of it, or really good idea to go and take some plates into the kitchen at that time and, start, cleaning them. It's like find ways. All right, let's ask that one. What ways do you deflect and divert yourself from those sort of situations? And while you're typing that, Chris Jammy said, peaceful disputes are maintained when men sincerely believe that they are morally, logically correct about the issues at hand. It is when neither side is really certain that wars are instigated. I think it's really, I think this year more than any other, the chances of it getting pretty heated are probably fairly good. All right, let me see what Beth says here. It might be some form of avoidance of my own issues, but I won't admit to it. No, that's okay, Beth. We understand that. I want to tell you that, you guys have known me a long time, and, my friend Marnie. And, I love the way that she balances things down. If I start to get too heavy on talking about this, and she'll say something like, yeah, I totally agree, as long as that is fair on both sides. And you go, let me think about that a second. If you're going to do this, then will it also happen to the other side? Will both sides get the same level of attention, sort of thing? So I find it interesting. Jody's saying she looks for the humor. And it can sometimes diffuse a tense situation. Yes, a really good idea. I was watching, Jody, you were right about the fact, was I people watching when I went for breakfast. I watched, I would think um, an Eastern European type family of multiple people. You know what I mean? They not only they were looked like they were friends, but then some of them looked like they were relatives, and it was about a party of 6. And they have a different way of talking to one another, and it's loud. And and then this one guy wanted to get his picture with the other guy, must have been visiting or something, and it was really interesting because they took the selfie and they're both sitting there with their thumbs up, smiling, and that's fine. And then this young guy looks at it, and he messes with his hair a bit more, and he hands the camera over, and he said, "Can you take it again?" Obviously. Do you know how many times he took that photograph? I counted 8 different times. Do you think that guy had a slight ego problem? It's amazing the things you can work out about people just by watching them. Kay says, I think about being in a calm place or somewhere beautiful that I've traveled to. And all the sound of my cat purring helps. Yeah. And this is what I really recommend you do. That instead of getting and putting more oil on the fire of the discontent, just remember it's Thanksgiving, and maybe come out with something saying, wow, it's an interesting debate. By the way, I want you to say how thankful I am to so-and-so for what, and just change the subject completely, but calmly. Yeah, good idea. Anybody else got any tricks of the trade as we go into Thanksgiving week for the people that are any of you, I know Jody was going to be traveling and that's been canceled. Are any of you traveling on Thanksgiving? For those of you who are East Coast people, I hear that the weather is going to be pretty nasty, but not from snow as much as from rain, I believe. And someday, when the parties don't dazzle you anymore, and when the alcohol fails to amuse your senses, come to me. And we will lie in the grass and stare at the stars and talk about life. Maybe I will become the moment you rediscover yourself again. I think that is one of the things that I notice most about growing older. How did I ever drink the way I used to drink when I was in my 20s? I'm going, in my wildest imagination, I cannot think how I got away with it. And how my liver got away with it is another thing. And it's just like, yeah. And how did I manage to go partying, like 3 or 4 times a week and still go to work? I have no idea. I have difficulty going out to one appointment these days. But I did take a moment, because that's what I do, but I did take a moment today when I was out. And after I'd watched the guy with an ego issue about his picture, and after he'd taken it 8, 9 times, he then was happy. And then I was watching a woman move from a banquet, situation in the restaurant, to her wheelchair, and she obviously had Parkinson's. And as I watched her, I was thinking, wow, it's amazing how she does that. First of all, she's shaking because she has Parkinson's, and then here she was manipulating herself from this banquet into the wheelchair. And as she wheeled past me, I actually stopped her And I said to her, how do you build your upper body strength to be able to hold yourself to do that? And it was amazing to see the change in her. She was looking pretty agitated until I asked her that question. And then she said, oh. And then she sort of told me, but I didn't hear it. So I looked at her husband and I said, I'm sorry, I'm hard of hearing. What was it your wife said? And he explained it to me, what she does. And he was saying that she was a real trooper and she got herself in and out of cars and did all sorts of things. And I'm saying, wow, how impressive is that? And, you could almost see her levitate with joy. And so again, I would say, let us go out of our ways to say a nice thing to people if they're starting to get a bit agitated. I'm certain that if we try really hard, we can find something nice to say. And I hope so. Yeah, Jody's also saying, I don't know how I survived my 20s and 30s, to be honest. A little too much partying. Yeah, I definitely agree with you. The nature of the world is to be calm and enhance and support life. And evil is the absence of that inclination of matter to be at peace. That's interesting that Kerry's saying last Thanksgiving was interesting because Mike was new to the equation. Yeah, that's right. He was, right? New to the family, right? And I think with everyone spread out and loud, I doubt it has ever been organized chaos in his family. Hi there, Nyasha. Okay, so are you saying that you went to his family or he came to yours? I'm trying to work out which was the family that was loud. Was it yours? Yeah, thanks, Nyasha. I'm certain everybody in the States will appreciate that. Nyasha just wishing everybody a happy Thanksgiving. I have to keep double checking when it is because so many people are talking about it. Oh, your family was the loud one. Yeah. And is Mike's family quiet, Kerry? But I think there's a difference, Kerry, between loud families and fighting families. You know what I mean? I visit another friend of mine, and she is very, her family is very loud, outspoken, but it's all in good cheer. You know what I mean? They talk a lot with their hands. I mean, they're not Italian, but they could be, because they all talk with their hands and they bang tables and they make points. And, you sort of sit there and it's like watching, some sort of top class tennis game going on. And, if you care to just watch it, it's amazing, but it is incredibly loud. And so I found that when I'm there, and I get invited there quite often, when I'm there, I have to take myself away a little bit because I find it. Do any of you suffer from that? I find it overstimulating when I listen to people that are very loud now. All right, so Kerry's saying his family, that's Mike's family, right, are fairly quiet compared to mine. Kerry's saying that we are passionate and outspoken and engaging. Yeah. And I'm trying, that's how you grew up, and that's quite normal. I can remember being pretty passionate, outspoken, and engaging one time. In fact, I can remember Benji being pretty passionate, outspoken, and engaging. And Judy was so upset. She actually came and told him to apologize to me. And, because to Judy, you don't talk to your elders like that, right? And it was so cute because Benji looked at Judy and said, Judy, you need to understand that this is Sal. when we were debriefing a December thing, and he said, when we have these discussions, we just say it like it is, and and we sort it out. And I said, Judy, don't worry about the tears coming out of my eyes. They're frustration tears. They're not. I'm not angry, and don't feel attacked. I'm frustrated because I want to get my point over, and I'm not doing it well enough, and it's frustrating me. But it was really cute, so I understand the passionate and outspoken and engaging, right? All right, so Jody can relate to that experience of sensory overload and the need to retreat into your quiet place. Jody, I often wonder whether that is part of why I smoked. Because smoking always gave you a reason to leave a situation and go and be on your own. All right, so Carrie's saying everyone is included in our conversations, all right? Or at least we want to include everybody. That's awesome. Beth saying, she's the wallflower in the back. Is it that you're a wallflower or that you don't want to waste that energy, Beth? I don't perceive you as a wallflower in any case. But I do perceive you as somebody that can stand away from the issues and, see it from a different perspective. You don't need to be in there. I'm pretty sure that when you do say something, it's pretty relevant. Right. Interesting. Beth is saying, I think everybody doesn't like me because I was taught to be silent. Yes, little girls should be seen and not heard. How many of you grew up with that one? Interesting point, Beth. I always love it. You always come up with very wise things around this stuff. How many of you relate to what Beth is saying? She was taught to be quiet. In fact, she was taught to be silent, not even quiet. It was useless with me, obviously. Carrie's saying, I'm used to quiet, Thanksgivings at Grammy's and Grandpa, but in overwhelm, the first Thanksgiving here in Kansas with my mom's family. Oh, so two different parts of your family, completely different vibe. And which do you prefer, Carrie? Yeah, I just wonder which do you prefer? I think, if I think about it, that I've just realized that my top is almost the same color as everything around me. Does this look like it's a black and white broadcast? You know what I mean? It's like it's a sepia, I think would be the word, broadcast. I've only just noticed it now that I can see taupes and black and white coloring. And I realize that I'm wearing taupe as well. Hang on, let me throw some color in here so you guys can see. Oh, that's getting also the same area. Isn't that interesting? I just realized it. Looking at my, going, Okay. Patience, more than the ability to bear pains or endure waiting, is to be calm no matter what happens, Constantly take action to turn it to positive growth opportunities, and to have faith, to believe that it will all work out at the end while you are waiting. Then that's going to be my, I was saying to somebody today that one of the greatest things I am looking forward to is after I've sold and after I've bought and after I've moved, I will be able to make a mess again, and that would be my right. How many of you can imagine for me to have to stay tidy for this long is very, very difficult. Carrie's saying, my dad expected children to be seen and not heard. Yep. My mom was and is the polar opposite. I'm becoming used to the chaos with my mom's family. And it's usually over in a few hours. Yeah. Nyasha's saying, I am an individual like that. I would retreat into my bedroom whenever whatever's happening. Of course, I have to be present when the company comes. But I'm a person who is comfortable being by herself. How many of you agree with Nyasha? Yeah, I want to tell you that I am a very happy being by myself. I entertain myself well. I don't feel lonely. I rarely feel lonely. I'm not going to say I've never felt lonely, but I rarely feel lonely. Beth's saying sometimes if I don't engage, maybe they will not know that I feel like a loser. I'm still working on that feeling. Wow. But my adult self knows that, and I'm just fine. But the child, the inner child, comes out in social situations. Understandable, Beth? Yeah. It's the same, Beth, when I get into social situations, I always say to myself, I'm going to be quiet this time. I fail miserably every time. Carrie says, I get overwhelmed with a lot of overstimulation. I like some quiet, but noise I'm learning isn't too bad. Yeah, so, it's not as bad as you thought it was necessarily. Noise doesn't necessarily mean conflict, right? Good. Fiona Apple said, it's calm under the waves in the blue of my oblivion. Beth says, I'm fine at work because it's my job and I do it well. Yeah, you don't feel less than at work, all right? And you don't feel the need to be quiet at work, from what I gather. Trevor Driggers said, maybe if we just lay beneath the stars long enough, all our worries will dissipate into the cosmos. And we can lay there motionless, yet sailing across the stars. I love that idea, right? Let me just lie here and watch what's going on in the cosmos for a while. Wow, that's interesting. Beth says that she's fine at work because it's the job and she does it well. But if she goes out with co-workers to lunch, she crumbles into a fetal position. I fake it till I have more confidence that I'm not that child anymore. Keep working on it, Beth. Keep working on it. It's a lifelong, for you, it's going to be a lifelong journey. It's interesting. Kez is saying, now that you've said that, you make me think of a chameleon trying to blend into their surroundings. Interesting. And I just kept trying to think about what it was like for Kerry living in two different sort of groups of people, the family split, but the mother's side was so outgoing and the father's side was quite the opposite. And, it was like, it must have been quite a juggling act. Which household am I in? And how do I best, communicate in this household or the other one? There is so much power in choosing to love yourself against all odds and hope with every kind of painful experience you become more aware of who you are and what you are truly capable of. Life hurts, but it's also remarkable, and it is remarkably beautiful if you can look past the chaos. Kez is saying, this business about now that you've made me think about the chameleon thing. And Beth said after that, that's me for sure, Beth, the chameleon. I'm going to remember that next time I'm out with friends and laugh. Well, there you go, Kez. Thank you for making Beth's day. That was obviously an aha moment. That is what I love about the work that we do here. Right? Sometimes this, the easiest statement comes out to be so meaningful. And so I'm just delighted. Whatever you value, it becomes your sun. If you value a calm night, your own sun will rise with the sunset on the horizon. All right, let's do that again, bit better this time, Sal. Whatever you value, it becomes your sun. If you value a calm night, your own sun will rise with the sunset on the horizon. That's interesting. Let's accept it that dead people are in a position for relaxing and watching. Yeah. The weather is nature's disruptor of human plans and busybodies. Of all things on earth, nature's disruption is what we know we can depend upon. It is essentially uncontrolled by men. Isn't that the truth, right? How many of you have had Thanksgiving plans ruined by the weather? Oh, Kerry's saying now that I've learned if I remained quiet with my dad's family, I was a lot less likely to get punished. Isn't that sad? My aunt and uncle, my dad's brother, encouraged me to be myself, but I'm still almost mute with that family. Wow. That's called survival, Kerry, right? You learned how to survive without getting punished. And I am certain you are not alone. That is the thing, Kerry, and I appreciate you talking about it because I am certain that you are not alone in that thinking, that you learned to be quiet around certain people so you wouldn't get punished. Fight or flight, yes, exactly. We were talking about that on Friday. It's the same way, Kerry, as that's why I keep saying to myself that, I'm going to be quiet this time so that I don't attract the lightning. I fail at so often. It's more than okay to say no to people and places that harm your peace. There you go, Kerry. It's more than okay to say no to the people and places that harm your peace. How about this one? Stay at peace with everyone you meet and hold no grudge with anyone for any reason. That's interesting. Kerry's saying, I'm quiet for some of my mum's family, but loud with those I feel safe with. Yeah. And I would say that that is true of so many of us, Kerry. All right. And isn't that the greatest feeling, to be around people where you can feel safe? You don't have to walk on eggshells, but you can be who you are, without fear of being punished or judged or whatever. When problems come, remain calm in two cases. One, when you know you can solve them, so smile. And the second, when you know you can't, so be silent. Jody, could you write me a note, please, for me to have a look at the 10 golden steps of life? That sounds like it might be a really nice thing to do a broadcast around, by Vikram. But it's just the 10 golden steps of life. I'd love to look into that a little bit more. Niesh is saying, Kerry, when I was younger and company would come over, my dad used to tell me to go to my room and stay there. So it's okay to feel discouraged. I was once there, and I'm now learning how to get over it. Yeah. I get a sense that we all relate to what Kerry is saying at different levels. Either we have had that dichotomy of two completely different sorts of families, or we have seen it happen. Thank you, Jody. And so, Jody, I wanted to just check with you, when you had done so much work ready for this trip that you were going to do for Thanksgiving. How did you cope with suddenly hearing that it wasn't going to happen anymore? What was your process of being able to go from the excitement of getting ready and all the baking you were doing and everything else to suddenly hearing that's off? How did you balance again? Yes, just saying, I don't know what the problem nor the reason was for my dad's decision, but I believe that it's because I used to do certain things that he didn't want others to see and know about. Possible. I want to tell you that as a child, I was, children were not welcome in adult conversation when I was growing up. So we were always told to disappear when company arrived. We were allowed to say hello, but after that, we had to go to our room as well, Nyasha. It didn't have anything to do with that. We did funny things. It was about, it's an adult conversation, not one that for children. Yeah, Beth is saying that if she'd been doing the baking and everything and heard that the trip had been cancelled, her first thought would be, okay, no problem, more food for me. It's interesting because I do know from Jody that that was Lionel's reaction. At some level, anyway. It's wonderful that you understand it better now, Nyasha. And as you continue to grow, all these things will make more sense to you. And you will probably look at some of these things and go, wow, isn't that interesting? And what I'd like you to do, Nyasha, is to be very mindful of that, when you are dealing with your godchild. Is your godchild male or female? All right, and Jody's feeding us back on that disappointment. She said, we balance the disappointment by focusing on the fact that my in-laws would still be spending the holidays surrounded by family in the home of Lionel's brother and his wife, having a gourmet meal. Yeah, but what about you guys? Because I am certain at some level, you guys must have been bitterly disappointed. And you'll forgive me on this one, but You weren't invited to that wonderful dinner that I'm hearing about, the gourmet meal? How did that feel? Nyasha's saying that her godchild is a sweet baby girl. So, Nyasha, what I'd like you to do is think about all those experiences that you're talking about that you went through as a child, and be very mindful of that as you guide your godchild. All right. So if the family suddenly tells her to get out of the room, because the adults are all together, make sure you explain that to her. It's not that you did anything wrong. It's adult time, and they talk funny stuff, and it's not for little girls to listen to because it's boring. Or whatever. So explain it to her so she doesn't need to feel what you felt. Does that make sense, Nyasha? Susie Casman said, if you find yourself engaged in an argument that only stirs anger in your heart, quickly make peace and carry on. Great idea for the Thanksgiving dinner. Quickly make peace and carry on. If you find yourself getting a bit too heated yourself, it's try laughing and going, I got a little bit heated there. Now, let me calm down and get back to Thanksgiving. All right, Kez said that when I'm getting to know people, I'm quiet. But when I feel comfortable and that I fit in around people, then I become very loud. Interesting. Jody said, we made plans to have holiday fun too, by watching Christmas movies and baking cookies. The host didn't know we were planning to visit. I'm sure we would have been welcome, but with the Fluff, that's her doggy, it's not possible. Right, I'd forgotten about that part of it. Yeah. Deep down, nature is inherently peaceful, calm, and beautiful. The universe as a whole is perfect. The chaos is on the surface. How many of you can feel it? Deep down, nature is inherently peaceful. That's what I would challenge you. Keep getting back to a place of peace. Carrie is saying Mike is going out of state for Thanksgiving, and she's going to be spending the day here in she's in Kansas. And Yesha's saying, I'm thankful for this role. This was a responsibility that I wanted all my life. Yes, thanks, Mama Sal. I will. And I would even go to her room and play with her. I never had a childhood. You bet. All the things that you had wished for, take the time to pass it to her. All right? And don't feel, you already know what she needs because you know what you missed out on. It's so funny when I go down to be with the girls, they don't understand that I didn't grow up doing some of the things that they do. And so when I go to visit them, you can probably imagine I want to play with some of their toys and things, because I want to be part of that. And, it's really quite funny because to me, I love to be stupid with them. When I say stupid, if there's an obvious answer, I will intentionally not give them the right answer so that they can correct me and tell me where I'm wrong so that they can look really smart. And I go, oh, I didn't know that. Thank you. Or I'll intentionally call them by the wrong names, even though I'm, getting a lot better at knowing which one is which. You know, and it's like, and then they'll go, no, I'm Mia. And I go, yeah, no, you're not. You're Kira. No, I'm not. I'm Mia. You know, because it really is quite entertaining sometimes. Right. And yes, she's saying because of her slowness and her illnesses, right? She missed out on a lot of things. And now she's going to be able to recapture it, right, through her godchild. You know, Nyasha, that's a wonderful gift that God gave you. All right, is the opportunity to be a godmother. And I'm so glad that you took up that offer and have decided to do it. Because I do believe that is the gift to you, that you will be able to play with the toys with her and you will be able to feel, you know, spend hours just doing that and doing the things you never got a chance to. I think it's wonderful. Carrie's saying at a Christmas Eve, it's, and my mum's family is, at Christmas Eve, it's my mum's family day, always has been. I'm planning on going to my paternal aunt and uncle's house around Christmas Day or a few days after. I'm getting 3 Christmases this year. Wow. I get Christmas with Mike's family and then both sides of mine. Isn't that wonderful? Do any of you avoid Christmas? And I'm just wondering if any of you feel the pressure of, you know, Kerry, that's visiting an awful lot of people. That's a lot of presents and things. How do you cope with that? Do you take one present for each family, or how do you do that? And for those of you who have to visit a lot of people over the Christmas time, you know, how have you managed that? Because I'm certain that there will be people watching this and getting scared because they have to visit so many people, but they don't feel that they have enough money to be able to buy everybody presents. So let's get some input there. We'll be talking more about these things as we get closer. A quiet mind is a quiet soul. I like that. When we observe the flow of our breathing, we transcend our thoughts and are able to bring mind and body into harmony with each other. Thus, we create calm. Be the calm in the storm this week. Nyasha's saying, yes, and it's strange because now I can grow up because my childlike spirit can be experienced and get a chance to fade away as a normal human being would. Yes, I think you're right in that, Nyasha. And Kerry is saying, I'm taking the plunge and introducing him to my dad's family, which I'm more nervous about, which he is more nervous, no, which I am more nervous about him than myself. You're nervous for him? I think it's always a little stressful, Kerry. Okay, so Kerry's saying, I usually just buy for the kids and not the adults at Christmas. I buy for my mom and Mike, but that's it. Okay, so that's, you know, that's a good thing. So, but if you're going to another family, the chances are that's, you know, kids that you don't know about. I must admit, I buy presents for the kids in people. Do you know what I mean? It's like I have a lot of little things because I think the fun of Christmas is unwrapping. How many of you agree with that? If you have something to unwrap is fun. So therefore at Christmas time, I don't necessarily spend a whole lot of money, but I get little things, and it might be a candy bar or it might be, something useful but small, right? But I from my experience, it's about, the fun of unwrapping something. Thank you for the input there, Kerry. I appreciate that. Nothing conquers the chaos around me like the calm assurance that I am at peace with God. Now, Beth, I thought you'd like to hear this quote from Christina, Queen of Sweden. She said, "I love the storm. I fear the calm." How about that? And she's a queen. All right, so Niesh is saying, Mama Sal, that was the very reason I accepted the role. It's because I never got to be a child. Parents don't understand, but I needed that part of my life to experience it. I quite agree. And I would be thanking God for that opportunity. Jody says she gives coupons to some of her friends to say things like, it's good for one homemade pot of chicken soup. And they can ask for it whenever they need or want it. Yes, I have one friend of mine who gives people a little coupon book, just like that, Jody. And, one is for a movie together and one is for a meal together. And they can cash it in, whenever they're ready. I agree, that's a great idea. Kerry's saying about Mike that he's only ever been with her mother's family. He's going to get introduced to those other people. And I'm not sure what to expect. No, and I'm sure he's not sure either. And they're not sure. All right? So, you know what I mean? Everybody's unsure. But hopefully it will go well. And maybe it won't. Chaos and calm. Why are we afraid of the silence? Knowing when you should weigh up your options, remain calm, and not take everything at face value has certain benefits. Ending the day with a peaceful soul is one of them. Beth is saying, I agree, Nyasha. I have to admit that when I buy toys for Lucas, I sit on the floor and play with them. I have to make sure they're safe. I love that child in me. Yeah, I totally agree, Beth. All right, I'm even admit that I bought a present for Juliana that I can't wait to play with her. And for that reason, even though it's really late for her birthday and I haven't, been down for quite some time, part of me goes, I'm going to have to go down at a separate time, just so, I don't want to go when everybody's there for stuff. I want to just go down quietly one day and just spend the day with her creating and doing stuff. And, it's wonderful because Judy really touched my heart a couple of weeks ago. And she sent me a picture. I gave Juliana a whole artist kit thing with a little easel and lots of markers and things like that. And it unfolds and becomes this thing. And, Judy sent me this incredible picture of Juliana with the easel out in front of her and all and she's busy working at it. And Judy sent me the picture and went, in case you think that your present was not appreciated by Juliana, look at this. It's a year later and she is still playing with it. And I thought I said to Judy, that it brought tears to my eyes because we share that in common. Yes, just saying, would you believe that I'm 34 and love kids shows? I'm an auntie to another little girl, and both her and I would watch those shows with interest. Sometimes I sing along with all the songs. I think it's the wonderful thing that you're doing, Nyasha. I don't think that that is a bad thing at all. I think it is wonderful. It will help heal your soul, right? Because there's an awful lot of learning in kids' shows, right? There's an awful lot of what's right and what's wrong in kids' shows. Carrie is saying, I'm just going to give a few simple things to my family on my dad's side. Maybe a framed photo to my aunt and uncle and grandmother. Yeah, keep it simple. Yes, she's saying, I'm so happy and blessed to have these gifts God has granted me with. Being an aunt and a godmother altogether. It's been a huge blessing. Yeah, I think it has been a blessing to you. And one that I'm delighted you are very grateful for. You don't have to go back to the way things were. Just go back to the point where you left off. Don't start over. Just keep going. But there's a right way of keeping going, and no one's here is going to be angry at you for leaving. We all have to leave sometimes. And some of us never come back, but there's always a choice. Even if you've already decided never to return, you can still come back from this. That is the only kind of faith that matters. Not in the world, not in God, not in our friendship, just in yourself. Yes, understand that we may think that we have ended a relationship or done whatever, but it is never totally ended unless you both choose that. The chaos doesn't end. You kind of just come to the calm. And yes, you're saying, it's a blessing, and I couldn't have asked for anything better. Isn't that beautiful? Kerry's saying, I haven't even begun Christmas shopping, but thank goodness for the internet. I can shop here and there. Exactly. All right, so Jody's reminding me to do the countdown, and that's what I'm going to do. As soon as my tablet wakes up. All right, let's see how we do here. Come on, tablet. There we go. It is 4 months and 19 days until Easter. It is 115 days until spring. It is only 104 days until we jump forward with our clocks. And for those of you who understand about Mercury being in retrograde, it doesn't do that again until February the 17th. Yay. Valentine's Day is 2 months and 3 weeks away. Start planning. For those of you like Kerry, you got 30 days left to do that Christmas shopping, honey. 30 whole days. Beth is saying, good soul or bad soul or no soul? Can people be so mean-spirited that they have no soul? That sounds almost like that is a faith question. I think that some people can be so damaged. All right. So Kerry's saying Amazon Prime is her best friend at the moment, right? She's going to order from Bath and Body Works as well, and may even attempt to go to a store. There is a trick about going to the store, Kerry, that I have learned. If you would like me to share it, I will gladly do so. For those of you mailing overseas, you got 5 days left. Just thought I'd mention that. 3 days until American Thanksgiving. Yeah, you know something, Kerry? I think you can do a lot in 30 days, especially if you've got it pretty well worked out what you're going to get. I think what wastes the time is trying to decide what you want to get for people. If you already know, it does make it a lot quicker. Yeah. And so that is, I've been, quite honestly, Kerry, I have been getting little Christmas shopping things from Amazon for months. Every month I've been buying a few other little bits, just so that I can, have Christmas stockings for the people I care about. And, and that's before I realized I was probably going to end up in this financial crunch that I'm in. So thank goodness I did. So, Beth, and those of you who are carb conscious, what are you doing? Do you make carb-friendly cookies, or do you just make regular cookies at Christmas? I just wondered because, a lot of people are going, more and more carb-friendly. And for those of you who know that I've been doing lots of experiments recently about food, I have discovered, for some peculiar reason, that eating sausages in the morning, 4 sausages keep me going until, well, I say in the morning, I eat at lunchtime. But I actually made my own sausages this week. Hang on, in casings. How about that? So exciting. Those are chicken and apple. How are you going? Well, it's one of those things I've always wanted to try, and I did it. Not easy. It's not easy if you've got long nails as well, but I did it. Okay, let's see what Nyasha says. Yes, Nyasha's saying about her godchild, and I believe she knows that I love her with all my heart. My cousin and niece, okay, because at times she would just give me a random hug, and other times she'll place her forehead on mine. I love her. Oh, isn't that wonderful? And Kerry says, I've got 8 kids to shop for and 5 adults and a dog. I can get this accomplished in almost no time. Awesome. Kez says, I buy little things on sale throughout the year and put it aside until Christmas birthdays. I've got a box. I do that as well. And I do it for the children a lot, where I'll be out and I'll go, oh, that'll be nice for a Christmas present or a birthday present. And I just tuck it into the box. And when I go to visit the girls, I will go to that box and go, okay, what can I give them this time? Yeah, and I'm also a Prime person, and I love it too. You're making traditional cookies for Lionel, and we'll have just a few. You might make some low-carb ones for me too. You realize that rhymes. I'm making traditional cookies for Lionel, and I will have just a few, but I might bake some low-carb ones for me too. You're a poet. So my whole gift for today is that we need to embrace both the calm and the storm. In other words, when the storm hit me this week, I chose whether to let it totally push me over the edge or to just stay calm enough to find out what was going on. And I want to tell you that it's I didn't need this problem and I didn't want it, but it's here. I've also started saying to my realtors, which is, tell me what else I can do to help you. All right. I want to come from a place of how do I help this process? And I keep trying to find out, is the house tidy enough? Is it, is there something more I can do in the house that will make it even better? And apparently not. They just think the house is so serene. But, it's just like, tell me what to do to help. And I just not sure why it's all taking so long, but it is. And I just have to learn to cope with that. How many of you can understand that's sometimes not easy to do? But I really am working very hard on understanding the chaos that is wanting to happen inside my head and being responsible for calming it down, because that is the only way I can survive. And, to me, that is what I would wish for us all in this coming festive season, is understand the chaos will be there, but we can calm it down. Beth is saying a pimple freaked her out because she wanted to look as good. So she wanted to look good, so she named it to make me feel better. And then if somebody noticed, I can laugh at it and go, is that weird? Yeah, you can go, oh, Betsy, yeah. Perfection doesn't exist. I welcome Betsy. I always say that about my nails, Beth, right? I break one, and what I do is I go, at least everybody knows these are my nails. Because if I had my nails done at some salon, that one would not be shorter, right? So, to me, this is proof that these are my own nails. I have the same reaction. And in fact, I was somewhere this week and somebody said to me, oh my goodness, those are your own nails. And I went, yeah. And you know what's even funnier? I used to bite them to the quick. And they go, really? And I go, yeah, really, believe me. All right, everybody. So embrace the chaos this week. Get control. Create your own calm. We cannot control the chaos that comes towards us. We can only control the way we receive it and what we do with it and how we protect ourselves from it. Beth, seriously, if you are starting to bite your nails, I really recommend, I haven't got my notepad with me. Oh, I can do it on my other one. Hang on a second, Beth. I really, really recommend this. Wrong pen. Because better you bite on this. Okay. I want to tell you, Beth, I don't care how much you put your hands into water or anything else. I don't get paid by her, but I want to tell you that 2 coats of that will protect your nails. And also, if you feel the need to bite your nails, rather work on removing the nail polish. Do you know what I mean? Don't bite this way. Just remove that nail polish. It's difficult to get off. That's why I'm saying it's a really good thing. Okay? I want to tell you, it's the reason I have nails like this. By the way, have you guys seen me do this? I love this thing. Okay. I haven't got time to do it all because I've got to go, but isn't it fun? And I found it got different markers and things. I'm having so much fun with it. All right. So everybody have a wonderful week. Expect chaos and keep calm. Right? Bye, Erin. I am going to go and finish cooking dinner. And hi, Benji. Congratulations, Benji, from all of us. It must be quite chaotic in your reality at the moment. Yeah. So cute. We're very, very happy for you, honey. I'm just going to stay a little longer so people can congratulate you. All right. So, yeah, isn't it amazing? Even since before the wedding, right? Since the wedding. I actually was following him way before the wedding. So have a wonderful week, everybody. Enjoy it. And remember, there will be chaos. Get control and stay calm. And we will see you all next week, God willing, and wish me luck as they tear apart my roof. How many of you know that's going to be a little bit overstimulation for me? So that's why I've decided I'm going to distract myself by putting up some Christmas decorations. Then hopefully I won't be thinking about, are they going to break things in my bathroom or whatever? We'll see. We'll take it one step at a time. I'm certain that some of you are going to want to see that picture. We'll see you on Friday. Yeah, that's why I'm going to do the Christmas tree. All right, everybody, big hugs to you all. And I will see you Friday. Look after one another, but most of all, please remember to look after yourselves. For those of you traveling for Thanksgiving, take plenty of time. Better be late and safe. Don't take any risks. There are going to be a lot of stupid people on the road. And so take it carefully. And for those of you staying at home for Thanksgiving, remember that you can be the calm in the storm if you choose to be. This is DearMamaSal saying bye-bye for now. Bye-bye.